Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Congressman Jim Himes. I had the privilege of serving as the chairman of the Select Committee on Economic Disparity and Fairness and Growth. And I'm so delighted to see you all here tonight, because we tried in this committee to do a whole bunch of things different. And I think that this documentary that we've produced is actually maybe the most interesting and the most different of the things that we have done. So thank you for being here. I want to start off with a big thank you to the National Archives, who really went out of their way to put this together. Deborah Wall, I don't know if the acting archivist is here, but Deborah, thank you. Thank you for hosting us tonight. And you don't need to hear from me, but I do want to just give you a little bit of context for what we're doing tonight. I was privileged enough about 18 months ago to be asked by Speaker Pelosi to chair this committee. And it was odd when she asked me to do it, and I thought, okay, that's interesting. What does that mean that she wanted me to do it? And as some of you may know, I kind of come from the more moderate branch, the more centrist branch of the Democratic Party, and I represent a district actually that has tremendous disparities in wealth. I represent some of the wealthiest people in this country. I also represent the city of Bridgeport and the city of Stamford and Norwalk, where there is very significant poverty, literally side by side with some of the most intense wealth in the country. I was very fortunate because Kevin McCarthy, Republican leader, appointed Brian Stile of Wisconsin to be my ranking member. And one of the different things that I will cherish about this was the relationship that Brian and I, in a very polarized environment, developed around doing serious work, minimizing the partisan ideology, minimizing the partisan shot-taking, and I'm just thrilled to have a really terrific friend in Brian Stile. Thank you for being here. What we wanted to do differently was to tone down the partisanship. There are reasons why we belong to our parties, and we're not anything other than proud for being members of those parties. And at our best, our system is one that allows for a respectful and civil debate around the issues that divide us as parties. All too often, particularly recently, that polarization has been profoundly destructive to the civic fabric in this country. So I determined from the very beginning that we were going to try to tone down the unnecessary partisanship. And what you'll see in the report that you've received, we actually centered on chapter 3 of that report things that we believe can be accomplished now. So they're not the big visionary things that the Democrats or the Republicans would envision. They're the things that in divided government we think we could get done. And the reason that's important is because the problem that this committee was constituted to address knows no partisan bounds. There is profound poverty in deep red districts and in deep blue districts, and it is a significant enough problem that we do need to tone down that polarization. Many of us went through January 6th. That's an example of polarization that tears at the fabric of our political system and of our society. So the other thing that we chose to do differently was to produce this documentary because, and take it from a fairly tight analytical person, there's only so much you can accomplish by addressing people's heads, their analytical faculties, their minds. The truth is, I've learned in politics that if you really want to move somebody, you move their heart. And so if you want to move somebody's heart, you're going to tell some stories. You're going to tell stories of what it's like for real people out there who are struggling in a challenging economy. And what you're going to see tonight is that when you hear these stories, it will restore your faith and optimism in the American people, because what you see is struggle. But you also see struggle in the context of people who wake up every morning optimistic, working hard, with great discipline, and convinced that they can make it, even though they face daunting odds. And so what you're going to see tonight, in some ways, was my answer to the polarization that led to what we all experienced on January 6th. And the word I keep coming back to is empathy. If we don't have empathy for each other, if we think of each other as stereotypes, Republicans or Democrats or Southerners or Midwesterners, if we think in terms of stereotypes, we miss the whole point of doing what we're trying to do, which is making sure that every American has access to the American dream. And that's very much in peril. We are more economically we have more wealth concentrated at the very top of the economic ladder than we ever have had in this country. And more frighteningly, it's harder to get ahead in this country than it ever has been. European countries, which traditionally have had much less mobility than the United States, you can actually now get ahead in a lot of European countries and even Asian countries faster than you can here in the United States, where we sort of cultivated the idea of the American dream. So this is our attempt to try to create a sense of empathy, a sense of commonality that I hope will be the basis of us moving forward, understanding each other. And you're going to hear, by the way, after this film, you're going to hear from the wonderful families that are in this film. I need you to listen to them, because what you're going to hear from them is that they don't need us pounding the partisan table. They don't need us being precisely correct about exactly where the tax code or the earned income tax credit could be. I think what they're asking for is attention, a focus on the fact that they just need a little help sometimes. And I think if we have that in our heart, we will succeed in this thing we called politics. Before I turn you over to the film, we have some wonderful members here today. In particular, we are to have two other chairmen. We've got Chairman Bobby Scott. Chairman, thank you for being here. We will be joined shortly by Chairwoman of the Appropriations Committee, Rosso DeLauro. But let me call out some of my friends who are here, too. I understand that Chair of the New Dem Coalition, Annie Custer, is here. Former Chair, there's Annie. Derek Kilmer, Chair Emeritus. The incomparable Gwen Moore, member of the committee. You haven't lived until you've had soul food with Brian Stile and Gwen Moore in Milwaukee. That is an event. And my friend Dean Phillips. Dean, thank you for being here. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to introduce to you this documentary, Grit and Grace.
These days, when we turn on the news, it feels like we're living through one of the most polarizing times in our history. And one of our problems is that the American dream is out of reach for too many people.
In the wealthiest country in the world, most people are struggling economically, in one way or another.
I'm Sarah Jessica Parker. Almost everyone has a story of economic challenges and hurdles. I know what that's like. Growing up, even though my parents worked very hard, my family sometimes couldn't pay the bills.
People are trying to move up. People want to be able to chart their own course. And often we see things get in the way of that.
Democrats and Republicans in Congress came together to study and propose solutions to our growing economic divide.
I think that you have a lot of members up here who passionately 100% care about that, on both sides of the aisle.
And that meant listening to Americans where they live all over the country.
It's so clear to me that no one makes it on their own. No one does it alone.
The cooks, whose time is consumed by caregiving.
I met the boys. I didn't see special needs. They instantly became my family.
Alicia Villanueva, who found passion in sharing her culture's riches.
I was thinking how I can contribute to this country, so I decided to introduce my culture through my Mexican cuisine.
And Joseph William Graham Jr., still ambitious in the face of injustice, inequity, and hardship.
I'm on a college campus encouraging young people to get a degree that I don't have.
We are all different, but we all know what it's like to strive for something.
It's not even just about an exercise of empathy, but it's an exercise in understanding how we are all connected.
Regardless of what party you are, regardless of where you come from, we all have grit, and there's a way to tap into it.
Here are 3 stories that capture the ambition, hunger, passion, and love that define resilience.
When people see me, I only stand because there is a small community of folks who support me in all of my endeavors. Yeah. The mentors, my family, and my friends.
About 2 Father's Days ago, my kids got me a 20-pound weight vest.
My name is Joseph William Graham Jr. I'm originally from New Jersey. I live out here in Concord, North Carolina. But then you come to an expert. It's like, okay.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. I grew up with both my mom and dad and played a major role in my life. My parents sacrificed to put me through a Christian school. It was predominantly white Baptist. I was one of 2 or 3 black children. By the time I get to 8th grade, my entire class is black. Some of them church members who made the Central School did not like that at all. I'm dealing with a level of racism. I kept a bunch of different things I did. It's qualities that made 2 great Americans, but I did mine on Nat Turner and Marcus Garvey. Once again, I will instruct you that this is not a paper to make a statement against your country. A country which provides you the freedom of religion, press, speech, assembly, and education. So your expression of saying this is a country of freedom of speech is to block me from writing my freedom of speech. Dude, you can't make it up. I was accepted into Morgan State University, and it was awesome. When I talk about it, people think I went there all 4 years. I was only there the first year. But my mom and dad didn't have enough money for us to continue to go. Here it is, my parents have been paying tuition for me since kindergarten, but still didn't have enough money for me to go to college. That's a wake-up call about economics. I can't go back to college, and I loved it. Here I am, a black man without a college degree. I looked toward North Carolina because the rumor was you could get a job easily.
People over the world just dream to be in this amazing and blessing country because it's the country of the opportunities for everybody. And I was thinking how I can contribute to this country. So I decided to introduce my culture through my Mexican cuisine. I know how to cook tamales, so that's why I decided to make tamales. Mexican cuisine becomes the patrimonio de la humanidad, and I'm proud of that. When you taste it, you taste the love. My name is Alicia Villanueva Castañeda, and I'm the owner of Alicia Tamales Los Mayas here in California. I immigrated from Mexico. When I arrived to the United States, it made a big impact on me to see the diversity of the cultures, and I just love that. This is a family business. My husband is Pedro Espinosa, and then my 3 kids is Pedro Jr., Grecia, and Pablo. I started the business at home, and I can say under the table. Every night I cook tamales, like 100 tamales per night. I was cleaning houses and then taking care of my kids to bring them at home, do homework and everything, put it on the bed. Sí, y me das 2 libras de pierna. 11:30 or midnight, I start to do my tamales, and I finish like around 3 o'clock or 3:30. When I was just finished to work, I just steam the tamales and go to the street. I remember that Grecia was in the kangaroo bag with my kids and my cooler bag and selling that way. Was really hard time. Yes, I was so afraid too, because in any moment maybe the official or the police can say something. My husband said, Alicia, you are so crazy. You don't make any profit, because my profit was, now I'm laughing, but was like $20 or $30 per day. And then I have to use this money again to buy my ingredients and cook again. And so I realized that I have to be educated.
I reckon I do. Do you? Yes. It's hard juggling a business and a family, especially a special needs family.
Are you my chunky monkey?
It was one of those things we didn't have a choice. So we're gonna make the absolute best of it.
You got lunch ready?
My name is Jeremy Michael Cook. I'm a dad. We have 4 children, a daughter that is 26, twin sons with autism that are 23, and a younger one that is 19 in a couple of weeks.
My name is Wendy Lynette Cook. The oldest and the youngest don't live with us, but Jeremy and I, we take care of the boys and we run our business, and that's our family.
Me and Wendy had met after going through some pretty nasty divorces. Literally, I had my car and a backpack full of clothes from my first wife. She had her car and her children, and that's pretty much it. We started completely over. When I met Wendy, there wasn't a moment of thinking. I met the boys. I didn't see special needs. They instantly became my family.
The boys are Ricky and Randy. They do have, a lot of needs, a lot of challenging needs. Ricky's, happy-go-lucky most of the time. Randy, he can be a little more temperamental.
With the boys, they were diagnosed right around 3 years of age with severe autism and global developmental delay. They are affected in all areas of development. Unfortunately, they don't have verbalization. Are you gonna sing? Two. Are you gonna sing? Two. Are you gonna sing? Hakuna? Hakuna's two. It means? Four. We run a glass business.
We fell in love with a certain kind of glass that was made in West Virginia.
Do you want me to help you on those boxes or continue to bring stuff in?
Bring stuff in.
From day one, I was cleaning the glass. I was unpacking the glass. I was taking pictures. I was posting online what couple orders we would get in the beginning. I was packing them up, shipping them out. We built our shop on the back of our house because of our boys. We can't work normal jobs because of their care.
When I was just doing this business like by myself without any help, I honestly was sometimes crying, and I just pray. And one day, right here in the floor, I just find this nice brochure. It was from Woman Initiative, and it said, Alas para las mujeres latinas. If you want to grow a business, please contact us. And right here is where I learned how to make a business plan, and it's my first door to, growing my business. Our life changed.
Several nonprofit organizations in the San Francisco Bay Area helped launch Alicia's business.
MAF is Mission Asset Funds. I did circle lending with this money. I used to fix my van, and they helped me to grow my credit.
Another organization provided her with 5 years of business training and access to a kitchen.
La Cocina support me in all the aspects. I feel more educated with them. La Cocina was just 2 tables of 6 feet, and we were cooking this production of 24,000 tamales per month. And then from that, I get the MEDA is Mission Asset Development Agency. They gave me a grant of $1,500, and with that, I get my first employee.
And 11 years after Alicia found that brochure on the ground, she finally got her first big loan.
I remember when Meda gave me this $100,000 to grab this place. Can I say I feel this like a big monster? Because it's huge, it's 6,000 square feet. Now I feel that it's small for our production. Esta masa es mucha, ¿no? Te la doy. We were doing 40,000 tamales per month. And then from one day to the other day, everything disappeared. Everybody's suffering about the COVID. In my case, this business was living by the catering services, and it was like 90% of our income. No more business, no more nothing. And I just remember that just one day I just cried because I say, what I'm gonna do? We lost everything.
A month after we opened the door to our business, COVID shut us down. So we literally had to shut our door and try to go to e-commerce.
We are getting ready to start our live sale. 73 are coming and 11 maybe.
We're gonna start going live. 3, 2, 1. Infrastructure in this area is horrible. You can't hardly stream. We are going to get started. Got this beautiful blue opalescent napkin vase. It's nothing uncommon for the video sometimes to just pause because it can't keep up with it. At 35, we're gonna give it about another 30 seconds here because we do know there is a lag time. And they are just now putting in fiber net in the city. What's this? 25 years later than most cities?
We are done. Remember, it takes us, a couple days to get the invoice sent out. Just the two of us with our boys, sometimes life gets in the way, but we will get it. Thank you guys for hanging out with us once again.
Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Good night. People hear what we draw in, and they think, oh, Lord, you guys are doing great. But when you take out everything we're spending out, we're below the poverty level. We had a lot of customers turn away over the couple of years because we don't offer free shipping. We can't compete with Amazon and these places that have billions of dollars. Everybody says buy local. When it comes down to it, people don't want to buy local. The regulations that are put in place are put there to keep big business in place. And in turn, us in rural America are the ones paying. Well, I hate to break it to you, rural America is what keeps this country going.
Y'all waiting on Mom.
Those boys need socialization. They don't need to be stuck in this house all the time, So we go out a lot for lunch or dinner. We try to stop in the local grocery stores.
I'm getting a special.
They require 24/7 care.
While Jeremy and Wendy receive state support due to their children's disabilities, the help they receive doesn't even cover the boys' food bills for the month.
If we leave this state, they will automatically lose their benefits. We can't even move to possibly benefit ourselves or benefit our boys, benefit our business.
It is like Christmas, my birthday, and New Year's wrapped into one whenever he comes to town, because I have the opportunity for me and him to spend one-on-one.
You look so good, son.
So I'm the father of 4 children. My oldest is Kwabena, who's 23. I was 27 when Kwabena was born.
How was the trip, John?
That's pretty good.
So I moved to North Carolina, end up meeting a woman who would later become my wife. We would have 3 children, JT, Jayla, and Journey. We eventually separated and divorced and co-parenting now. For the first time, not only am I doing it online, but I also have an audience here in front of me as well. So if you see me looking off, it's because I'm trying to show love to the audience here and show love, of course, to everybody online.
Back in 2000, Joseph and his then wife, who was a UNC Charlotte student, started a spiritual campus group called Road to Damascus.
The motto was spiritual inspiration for academic excellence.
He loved engaging in campus life, even though he had never completed a degree of his own.
I'm on a college campus encouraging young people to get a degree that I don't have. You know why? Because I'm a grown adult at this point. I don't have the money to pay for school. And there was limitations I was hitting in spaces I could not be in because I didn't have that degree. Jobs I couldn't get. I put it in my mind, one of these days I want to try to get my degree. I just don't know how that's going to happen. It's good in life that the enemy is going to send trials and tribulations, error, and people to throw you off. That is a test. It was in 2010. Young folks I had mentored and graduated, and one of them was like, why don't you go back? Just look into it and go back. I'm 30 plus. They have like a whole system for people returning back to school. And I did. Determined to see your breakthrough. That October, I get a call from my brother. You gotta come home. Mom is sick and she's been to the hospital. We come, and that's when we're told she has pancreatic cancer. So I had to pause that fall semester. Mom passed 2011. I think the combination of loss, the challenge of going back to school with children and working, I think that those things took a toll over time. And my dad passes a year and a half later. Last conversation with my father. He said, telling me how proud he was and said, make sure you finish.
There's times where it's very difficult to balance. You know, there's times, you know, we just mentally break down trying to balance. Nobody will ever understand. What it's like to have to play in your death and plan for your children's death all of your life, every day.
Their biggest thing is that I never want them to be apart. They have always been there, each other's constant. I don't want them split up. Get over here.
The way we've learned to balance is you find one positive thing in whatever you're doing.
But Daddy's got to go back out and go back to work.
Give me hugs. Give me hugs.
But really, when you get back to looking at it, the only person you can actually count on is yourself and probably your immediate family. The only person you can count on to keep you hopeful is yourself.
I finished with my bachelor's degree in Africana Studies with a minor in religious studies and sociology. Got accepted into the master's program, but I'm trying to outrun the grief, the pain, and the depression, brother. I look back now at the weight I gained. The weight I had gained physically was a representation of the weight that I was carrying emotionally. and just started working on myself, exercising. It was a slow process, man. To see results, it transforms your mind. Because I can look in the mirror and see transformation. So now, with stuff that has nothing to do with my weight, now you can't tell me it ain't possible. I have a company that I started called Equity on Everything, LLC. Greetings. All the work that I do now, fighting for equity, meeting with families that want better chances and opportunities for their children, and me navigating through with administrators and teachers and seeing how can we form a partnership to do what's best for our generation. All of that loops back to getting my master's degree. The challenge is some people pay you up front for the work. Some people may pay you half. You may agree to a contract and it takes 3 or 4 weeks for you to see any funds from it. Meanwhile, there's bills that need to be paid every 30 days. I got your vegan sausages in here. I know that I want to eventually buy a home in Concord. What's standing in the way? Credit, cleaning up the times where I've had some of my lowest economic moments and tearing credit up and rebuilding that. And I've been working with agencies to do just that. And that the coast is clear. I'm very much still trying to get to a certain place. I can look back and say, there's just some stuff I missed along the way that I should have established. It's not a dead end, it's a fork in the road.
We keep going. It's not the same profit. The business for me is like another kid, like my baby. So I have to do anything to keep the business afloat. When I received the emergency loan from the government, my God, it's like I feel at least freedom, no more stress to get the money for the payroll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Honestly, now we start again from the COVID. It's like starting again to rebuild the business. Selling tamales online is another way to survive. Now we are doing some shipping tamales by William Sonoma. It's a one-day delivery, and that makes you feel so happy because when I see these cases that go to Florida or New York, it's little by little, and it's a new tool that we have after COVID. Tamales, mi amor. I have the carnita, chicken, 3 vegan, 2 vegetarian, and 2 meat.
Let me do a chicken, and I'll do a Oaxaca cheese.
Oaxaca cheese, okay.
This is mushroom?
Yeah, but all of them are really good.
Yeah, but you said our favorites. We gotta tell them the truth. Yeah. Mushroom and carnitas.
And they have life in the fridge for 2 weeks, so in the freezer is 1 year. This is my grandma's recipe. I don't mind if they are Democrat or Republican. The food is just to share, and it's a huge, big unifier. I am resident right now. I am Americana. So I'm looking for my citizen status, I think like in 1 or 2 years more. And always I say, I have to study to make more professional my English, but I just need time, but I'm gonna do it for sure. I really want to be like this American lady. And finally, on the 2019 was the big time. We find this amazing house. It's your Mexican house for everybody.
No, o sea, pues mis hijos, Pedro y yo, de verdad queremos brindar por ustedes y decirles que bienvenidos a esta casa, que lo sentimos como nuestra familia. Y es como prácticamente es como el opening de la casa.
Sí, pues mañana me voy a ir a la universidad y no puedo pensar en la mejor manera a pasar mi último día en esta casa con ustedes.
This is amazing. This is the American dream. After too much work, this is the American dream.
Alicia made the American dream her own. And that's how many see this ideal today. It's not just the white picket fence and a nice home. It's wanting something and then being able to work toward it. It's about limitless ambition and opportunities to succeed.
The American dream is, for a lot of people, lost, but I won't give up on it.
It's time as a nation to recognize the strength and humanity of those working toward their American dream, and to understand, whatever our division, we are still one people.
Can we achieve the human dignity that no matter where you come from, what language you speak, what culture you're a part of, that you can build a life for your family that's stable and a legacy to leave behind them?
A legacy of grit and grace.
Thank you all. Thank you all for watching. Best part is yet to come. I need to explain to you, of course, that things like this don't get made by guys like me. They get made by an awful lot of people who know better than I do what they're doing. I want to offer a big thanks to the Democratic staff led by Mark Henson, the Republican staff led by Ryan Carney, who are here tonight. Thank you for being here. And second most important, you saw his name up there, but the creativity here really was Oscar Guerra and his team. He's here. Oscar, give us a wave. But most importantly, please help welcome to the stage Joseph, Alicia, Wendy, and Jeremy.
No, you're out here, yeah.
All right, okay. Gosh, it is, what a thrill. What a thrill to be with all of you. I met all these guys for the first time today. You know, our teams were out there doing this, but I feel like I feel like your family because I've seen this documentary now 15 times or so, and I learned in my office today that nobody up here has been to Washington before. This is their first visit to Washington. Welcome. We are just so thrilled to have you. I want to just elaborate a little bit on some of your stories, but I know what a lot of people are thinking. So you had a camera crew following you around in your kitchens, in your laundry rooms, in your garages. Joseph, let me start with you. What was that like, and why'd you decide to do this?
It was exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. It was exciting because it was brand new, and my children loved it, you know. And I just want to give a shout out to Quabana, JT.
Best supporting actor. By the way, Pedro Jr., also supporting actor. Pedro, give us a wave down there. Yeah,
and so it was nerve-wracking because you realize it made you analyze your life in a certain way. And it made me really reflect in a way that was meaningful. And so I appreciated the journey.
Jeremy, I've watched that section. I still get choked up when I think about it. Such emotional power. I just thought, I don't know how you do it. This was real personal for you. Tell us what this felt like, why you wanted to do it.
You know, people out here need to know, you know, there's more to life than what you see on TV, than what you see on social media. You know, that was part of the reason I wanted to do this when I was approached with it, because people need to see, you know, we all go through things, we all struggle, but, you know, we all need to get along, show some empathy and compassion for each other.
Wendy, were you part of making the call to let these folks into your home for how'd you feel about it?
It was exciting, but stressful at the same time. I thought, oh my goodness, they're gonna see my house, see what we do every day, and that was a little scary, you know. But
I actually sort of jumped in and volunteered her before she got a chance to.
Jeremy made me do it though.
Alicia, so now sitting here and watching that documentary, what does it mean to you? How does it feel?
Means the world for me. It's like to see my partners, my colleagues in this is inspire me more. You know, to work more hard for to make a really positive impact in this country and in the community. And I really love, I was so happy to be part of this great project because I really want to motivate all the immigrants and let them know that the American dream can come true if you work hard. Yeah.
Joseph, this is a pretty weird moment, right? You know, where this documentary is going to get out there. It is out there. You got a whole bunch of members of Congress. We are joined by the chairwoman of the Appropriations Committee. What do we need to hear? What do we need to feel? What do we need to do?
For me, it's been a journey as a black man to go from human property to human dignity. And to, as a young boy who had to advocate for himself in spaces in school, to now having a business, and I call it equity on everything because we need equity on everything, and advocating for black and brown children to be treated fairly. What the words I would give is we need to build systems that establish equity, because you can't defeat institutional racism by just charismatic individuals. You need to replace it with a system that produces equity the same way a system produces disparities. And if we do that and realize that this legislation is attached to real lives, which is what makes this project so awesome, then maybe we'll pause before we make certain decisions and be more thoughtful about how it's going to impact the community we call our nation.
Jeremy, when Joseph said we need to build systems of equity, I saw you nod.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you were thinking when you nodded there.
Well, you know, everybody and everything has a value to it. It's tapping into that value that is there and expanding on it. You know, nothing can grow if it's buried underground, under paperwork on desk, whatever. Nothing can grow. So if it doesn't grow, how are you going to achieve that equity? You can't.
When we were in my office, I think I asked you a version of the question that I asked Joseph. What do we, members of Congress, people, what do we need to be thinking about, feeling? What do we need to be doing that you would consider valuable?
Putting the political parties to the side and working together. We as Americans are watching everybody sitting in here. I've actually might be the only person, but I read the entire final report. But I still seen one thing in it. Guess what stood out to me? Still the conflict there. The conflict on the solutions. You know, you as a Republican can have a great idea, you as a Democrat can have a great idea. But y'all are too busy not wanting to put it together. Take a piece from this, take a piece from that. Put it together. I want to see the 118th coming in and working on the same project, following these same things, going out here, talking to the people, and seeing what you guys can do better and following through with it.
Amen. And boy, did we try. We really tried. You may also be right that there's a few people in this room who've read the full report, but you may be right about that too. Alicia, you were not born into this political system. Give us Jeremy made a very powerful statement about let the partisanship, set it aside, get some stuff done. What's your feel as somebody who's not born into this political system?
It's a big, how can I say? It's a big struggle. Can I say that? And maybe can I say en español? Yeah, okay. Para mí estar aquí como alguien fuera de la que no es de este país y venir aquí a trabajar es bastante difícil y más cuando uno es como indocumentado porque tiene que esconderse realmente de todo y a mí me encantaría que recibir apoyo para todos los inmigrantes.
Many of you will have understood that. For somebody who came from outside, it was a particular struggle.
Yeah.
And that you would just hope that the system would be able to provide a little bit more support.
Yes. Doesn't matter that the document or undocumented immigrant, everybody needs support and everybody really needs to feel the economic freedom. So it's like we need more, like for example, the entrepreneurs, we have these organizations, but we need that you have more promotion in the nonprofit organizations and then everybody can know the resources and everybody, can make the dreams come true. Yeah, sorry.
You're a permanent resident. You are a year or two from citizenship.
Yes.
We didn't put this in the film, but when you initially came to the country, you were undocumented.
Oh my God, yes. And it was so hard because, like mom taking care of my kids and bringing to school and then work and always like in the shadow because if I drive, I was so scary, taking care of that and not make any mistake when I was driving and many things on my head, like working and kids and it was so hard. And right now that I have my residence, it's like huge blessing for me. I feel so happy and I can drive very safe, No more afraid.
Jeremy, we have a Latina woman, an African American man, a white couple. Your stories are real different, but what are you feeling any resonance, any commonality with the stories in the documentary?
Absolutely. It would be hard not to. I listened to what Joe said, about how he had put on weight, because of emotional stuff. I have myself.
Joseph, same question. Joseph, same question for you. Again, real different people with real different experiences. What's the commonality here?
What really was shocking, not shocking, but it was amazing, was the link of entrepreneurship. The having to see what was in your wheelhouse, your realm of creativity, and try to put it in a place where you can make a living, put food on the table, and a roof over your head. And the fact that each of us have distinct challenges, which are all serious circumstances that all have inequities in terms of how the system is serving them. And so seeing that linkage has made a bond with us even before we met, but certainly seeing each other today.
Alicia, same question to you. You had a very different experience because you didn't start here. What do you feel like maybe you have in common with the folks that you worked with here?
I think like I know that we are different histories, but at the end, the most main important thing is love. That we do everything with our heart, working hard, and love is the most.
Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy, you said, and I don't, Jeremy and Wendy, I can't remember actually which one of you said it in my office this afternoon, but you said something that stuck with me, which is nobody's looking for a handout. Tell us why that was important for you to say, and what are people looking for?
Well, I think what I see and hear, a lot of people hear about these committees, what's going on in them, and the first thing people think is people are automatically out here looking for a handout, whether it's TANF, SNAP, whatever, whether it's tax credits, whatever. That's not, what we're looking for out here. What we're looking for is the help to get the foundation we need to succeed. Whether it's internet infrastructure like it is in our area. Our internet is horrible. We get 12 megabytes and it doesn't want to keep up. You can't stream. You can't run a business hardly like that. But with COVID, what choice did we have? I had $80,000 sunk into Mystic Boys Antiques to be told people can't come in because of the size of your business.
Wendy, since Jeremy volunteered you for this, is he right about that? Has he got that right? What else? What else are you looking for?
I just want to add that I wish I had not had to have relied on the programs some of the programs for my boys or my sons, but unfortunately, we were dealt with a situation that most people don't ever come across out here, and just a little bit of compassion and understanding of,
quit just thinking it's about a handout.
And it's not. I would much rather have, and I've worked hard all my life. I've worked hard, and since I was 14 years old, and I'm now 50, and I'm not ashamed to say that I'm 50, but I'm still struggling, and I would think it would be a little bit easier now, and I haven't been able to really save anything because every time I accessed one of these programs or services, I felt like we got penalized, and you couldn't have this to get this, or I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense, Wendy.
And that's hard, and that's how I feel I've struggled with that.
We put 200 hours on average a week into our business, Mystic Boys. 200 hours. Most people don't put that in. But, you know, when our boys were growing up, we was told, you can't have this, you can't have that. If you have this, they lose what they've got.
And
They're in a program. If we transfer state lines, they go on a 7 to 10 year wait list.
And I feel too now, so they're over the age of 18, and now I feel like they're getting penalized. They can't have any more than a certain amount, you know. And I just don't feel that's right. And
if they do, they lose what they've got.
Right.
You know, we're penalizing the most vulnerable.
The committee heard that. Brian and I and the committee heard that loud and clear. We'll have our disagreements, but one of the things that is just awful, regardless of your political stripe, is that the support that we do try to offer for when those moments when you stumble is complicated, technical. There's bad incentives, and the committee heard that loud and clear. Joseph, what's your answer to that question of what, you know, people aren't looking for a handout? What are people looking for?
Well, you know, I can't remember the name of the woman who made the statement that said, diversity is being invited to the party, but inclusion is being asked to dance. But I've always been an advocate that I stand more on the word equity, because equity means that I'm at the decision-making table to decide if we're going to have a dance, where the dance is going to be, who can come, and what music we're going to play. And so, to me, it's about the voice of those who are experiencing the dynamics need to be in the room with the decision makers.
Exactly.
And so that's the voice and a seat at the table. Those are the two things that come to my mind. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Alicia, it looks from the film like you've gotten through COVID. Looks like the business is doing pretty well. You told me backstage that you actually got an airline to agree to maybe serve your food on an airline?
In the Alaska Airlines. Today is a really blessing day for me. It's a miracle and honor to be with you. And today happened many things, like, you know, from Alaska Airlines, they call me, and they say that they are almost approving the process to be with them and serve my product in the airlines. And then I received another invitation from American Airlines too. So, yeah.
Amazing. So I mean, you're at a point now where just things are going really, really well. But think back, maybe even before COVID. COVID is obviously something we hope to never see again.
Yeah.
But before COVID, what were the elements? It comes through a little bit in the film. But what parts of the community helped you? What was helpful to you?
Okay, in California, it's a really great state that they have a lot of no-profit organizations, but I think that they need more promotion. And you know, if you have to find the resources, so that's why when I feel that I can, you know, I was working really hard, but my profit was really little, so I just start to say, you know, you have to be educated and you have to find a way to grow up your business. And so I start to knock doors, and I found, like I say in this amazing brochure, the Women's Initiative, and from that point, and they helped me to make my business plan, and then I go to La Cocina. In La Cocina, I make a program of 5 years, and I graduated on the 2015, and right now, like you see, I have my family and me, we have this location in Hayward, this 6,000 square feet, and we have like 22 employees right now. Yeah. Yeah, and in the COVID, we didn't lay off anybody, so we started. Yeah, my son Pedro said, Mom, we won't let COVID take our dreams and all these years of hard work, so we have to really fight with the COVID, so we did it, and we made it. We made it, and Pedro is really we work together hand by hand, and he's like amazing.
Wendy and Jeremy, you let us into your lives for 5 days, and you really opened yourself up. Today, you took an Amtrak train that stalled in Leesburg. You got in a car and came to Washington D.C. Thank you for that. What's your parting words for these folks gathered here? What do we need to walk out of here thinking about doing, thinking about remembering?
I think, as we've all sort of touched, listen to the American voices out here. It's not all about people sitting in offices and stuff like that. Get your feet dirty like it used to be. Get out here and listen to your constituents. Look at the policies, what is working, what isn't working. Heck, ask any one of us, hey, what can we do better out here? I don't think there's an American out here that's not going to share their opinions with you. Get out here and find out what we need to get this country back to where it should be, which is the greatest country in the world.
And work together as a team. I think, we're all, it's okay to disagree. Jeremy and I disagree quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we come to that common ground so we can make it work for our family. And, if you can
just try to reach that common ground.
Yeah, and look at what situations are out there and have some little more compassion, and just realize that we are struggling out here.
Thank you. Alicia, you flew from California this morning.
Yes.
What do we need to walk out of here? What would you have us remember tomorrow and the next week and the next month?
I just get a lot of inspiration with my partners, and I think that everybody in different situation, we have a big struggles, but it's really emotional to see every story of them, and make me feel more like a person who have to work harder to make a really positive impact in this country.
Like an American lady, huh?
See?
Exactly.
Gwen Moore, everybody. Joseph, what? Bring us home here. What do we need to not forget?
We cannot forget that our children are watching. Even as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about my firstborn son, who I want to turn the business that God has given me over to him. And it makes me think about my children, my little ones. What did we do with the time we were given, the choices we had in front of us, and the moments to make a difference? What did we do? And I believe that if we really look at this document, that's, the first of its kind, it is a document replacing a report. So from my research days, we look at the details of what this document showed us and start tracing what's happening with families and disabilities, what's going on with small businesses not being given certain support, and begin to take what we identified and connect it to action items and action plans. That's what we need to do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have a lot of media and press here. We're gonna carefully make you guys available to the press and the media that are here. Before I close up and tell you how meaningful this was to me, Guy gave a year of his life to this. My co-producer Eric Harris. Round of applause for Eric. I can't tell you how grateful. I've been in Congress now for 14 years, and this is in some ways the most meaningful thing I've experienced. And there's a lesson in the fact that the most meaningful thing I experienced was getting out of Washington and meeting all of you and hearing your stories. And each one of you said, focus on us. Take the attention off of what's happening inside the Beltway. Again, one of the most meaningful things that has happened to me in the last decade and a half. I know you touched everybody here. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this.